What's going on, my sweet makeup artist? So I wanted to come on and just kind of show you guys a little bit of a briefing through the organization of my makeup artistry kit. This is the Complexion kit. So this is where all of the complexion is stored. Multiple brands, different shades, different tones. So in here you have concealers, foundations, powders, contours, airbrush foundations, and then my other palette, my other kit has all of the other miscellaneous things in it. So let's start to the top left corner. These are my absolute favorites, first of all. Absolute favorites, and these are the Sephora Collection Better Skin Ever concealers. I have about, what's this, 2, 4, 6, I have 8 shades. They cover for the most part, the entire global Fitzpatrick skin tones. And then on the side of there, sometimes I need a little bit of a thicker consistency as a concealer, or sometimes I like to use these as foundations as well. So in here, these are the Danessa Myricks Vision Cream Cover 2-in-1 concealer and foundation. Foundations. So I have 4 shades here: W9, W7, W5, and W3. What I do oftentimes with these is, because I want to build that consistency of a thicker or a fuller coverage foundations, these mix well with any type of products. It doesn't matter what it is. I found that they mix very well with everything. So sometimes I'll infuse the closest shade or undertone of these into the concealer that I desire. And then sometimes I'll mix it with MAC Face and Body just to kind of thin it out. I'll show you what else I do with that MAC Face and Body. I only have this shade of MAC Face and Body, and this is white. Bringing this into my next row. So here I have 4 of the MAC Studio Fix 24-hour smooth wear concealers, and then I have 4 of the Pro Long Wear concealers. So the reason why I also have the MAC Face and Body is because a lot of times I'll mix the face and body with these concealers and turn them into foundations. So they work really well together. They just give a beautiful, this is a good thing to have in your kit, just to kind of morph and change the texture or the finish of your products. Over here to the far left, I have some of the Makeup Forever HD Skin Foundations. They're all neutral tones, and what I'll typically do is I'll rely on the HD Skin palettes to adjust the tone if needed. So what I can do is I can take a little orange or a little bit of yellow and make them more yellow. I can take a little bit of red, make it a little bit more red, and so forth. So I do use primary colors a lot. That's why I have a lot of neutral things in here. I also have the Danessa Myricks Waterproof Cream Palette in the primary colors. And then underneath that, I like to use these for blush. I like to mix these tones and make different variations of these. So these are great as blush. I still have the disinfectant. I need to wipe that down again. I use a lot of these as blush and eyeshadows. Favorites. Right here is another MAC Studio Fix Concealer Palette. This is the NC45 to Pure Orange palette. Sometimes when you need that full-on beat and you want a little extra coverage, I will definitely go to MAC Pro Long Wear, Danessa Myricks, but a lot of times what I do is with these thicker consistencies is I thin them down anyway, because if you've seen a lot of my different makeup looks, they're very skin-like. Right here are some more Danessa Myricks. These are the, oh my God, I can't think of the name of them. These are the Balm Contour creams. I have shade Deep 1, Medium 1, and Medium 3. Of course, we've got the Janessa Myricks Universal Yummy Skin. As you can see, we use her faithfully. She smooths out the skin and is very, very, very long wearing. We have some of the Wet Balm from Janessa Myricks. Then we got a couple of MAC blushes here. The powders that I use of choice, MAC Studio Fix. I have a few shades of that. These are my absolute favorite, the Sephora Micro Smooth Powders. These go on almost every face. Some more MAC Studio Fix, and then these are some illuminators. I have the Pro Sculpting Duo. I hate that Makeup Forever stopped making this, but my fave. And then I have the #1 of that. So I got a Sculpting Duo for the bronzer, but then I have the #1 shade of the highlighter. And there, Soft and Gentle from MAC. This is a Micro Smooth, a mineralized skin finish. I like to use that as a bronzer on medium to deeper skin tones. And then we have some of our Kat foundations. So these are liquid foundations. They can be used as airbrush. They can be used alone. These are hydro foundations, which means that they are water-based foundations. They do dry down on the skin matte. So you want to be very careful and mindful of how you're utilizing these. Some pro tips when using the Kat Cosmetics foundations. If you use it with a little bit of Embryolisse moisturizer, you'll get a mousse foundation like texture. If you put a little bit of beauty oil in them, you will get a radiant foundation. So do not steer away from these foundations just because you feel like, oh, they're matte, they won't work with all skin types. Kat foundations and just Esom and Muse Beauty Pro, the products were designed for professional makeup artists. So it requires for you to have a little bit of skill and knowledge and know how to work the products. These are not consumer-based lines of products. These are for pros. So you got to know how to work them because they are absolutely beautiful. A lot of the work that I have done on my page recently have been with these foundations. Next, we have the primary colors, liquefied and airbrush. So I can adjust the tones of the liquid foundations. And then, of course, we have the Kat foundations. So we have Ruby, we have Olive. These are blush and correctors. And then we have our primary colors. Once again, I can adjust these with my primary colors. I can take an olive and a neutral to, an olive and a red to make a neutral. If you've been watching my page, you will see a lot of videos of how I work these and how I do the color theory with these. Last but not least in complexion are these two. These are probably the most old school, I won't say the most old school, but for me, these are the longest running foundations that I have used in my kit, Graftobian. And then I've depotted here in a Kit Pack palette, the Black Opal foundation. So the Black Opal foundations, if you're an artist, you know about them. These are my all-time favorites, as well as this palette here. This is the Graftobian Deshaun Hatcher Inclusion Palette. So one of my absolute favorites. This has every single tone in it that you can think of that you would need to work on a skin. It's got some beautiful corrector. It even got something for our deeper skin tones. They're beautifully formulated. The texture of them is very smooth and silky. A little bit goes a long way. As you can see, I've had this for almost 2 years. And as you can see, I scrape very little amounts out of it, and I can pretty much cover a whole face with like one scrape. They are beautiful. So that's complexion. Lastly, we have the Janessa Myricks Luxe Cream Palette. These are blush. They can be used on the lips, the eyes. So it's just great to have some beautiful pigments in. And then if we kind of scroll right on up here, okay, here we go. Hopefully, okay, yeah, you won't see me. Up here is where I keep my pencils. These are Ben Nye, Esom. These are MAC pencils. These are my MAC pencils that have been shaved down to the T. And then, of course, that Esom mascara that you always see me talking about. So, yeah, hope you guys find some benefit in this. And I hope that you were inspired. And this is how I keep my kit. The towel goes here just so that these things won't move around and travel. And I close her up.